All right, so we are going to dive in. We're going to dive in fast. And a couple weeks ago, we covered a episode about the keys to success aren't sexy, and basically dispelling the myth around. You got to be careful of the package that some content arrives in. It can be really flashy, can be really well edited compared to like our very plain backdrop and cheesy lights, but we don't care. And the main message of that one was around flow blockers. Things that keep you from getting into flow. So today we're going to talk about all the things that help you get into flow. So once you've removed those and you've dealt with the blockers, now how do you get the deepest flow state possible so that you can condense time frames?
Yep. And with that, we're back with another episode of BizMeds. We are your hosts and neuroscience business coaches. My name is Saad.
My name is Darius, and we're here to give you the scale your biology to scale your business talk. But the minimum effective dose to do that. And this is from real life, real experience, scaling 30 million in under 18 months, and the lessons learned in the trenches to help you scale faster and better. And so let's dive in.
Perfect.
So, we talk about flow blockers, we talk about flow state a lot. And the reason we talk about flow state so much is because it really is the hidden weapon that you have to accelerate everything that you're doing, right? So whether you want to fail faster to find out what works, or you want to create leverage, all those things, like flow state really is the unlocker for all of that to do it much faster than you ever thought possible.
Yeah. I would say like it's the glue that pieces it all together for you to be able to do all the things you're trying to do.
Yeah. So let's just jump in. So how do you, now that we've talked about flow blockers and the things that really prevent you, because you have to deal with those things on the front end. Like you can't get around it. You could have a flow trigger rich environment, but if you're not dealing with those blockers, and we even walked you through how to deal with one of them, then you will prevent yourself from being able to get into the best flow state. And so now we're going to arm you with all the things, or as many as we can, of the triggers. And there are 12-ish triggers for individual flow state. There's group triggers, but we're not talking about that. So if you can actually trigger group flow, we're not talking about that today.
Yeah.
And I think one of the primary one, I think that you need to really, if you can wrap your head around this, is curiosity, passion, and purpose. And it's no stranger that I hate passion on its own, because passion is fueled by the ego, and we have purpose. Purpose is what brings the ego back into subjection. It brings it outside of ourselves to something bigger, right? That having a larger purpose. But we have passion, that fuel to kind of go after it, and then something that we're curious about.
Yep.
And that is if you're curious, you have the passion and the purpose all kind of together. That is an immense trigger to get you into flow.
Yep. Yeah.
Speaks for itself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if you don't have something that you're just innately curious about, and something that drives you towards your vision, purpose, as you're saying, you're just never going to hit flow.
Yeah. I mean, there's something intrinsically motivating about something you're curious and passionate and have a giant purpose about. So you'll come up against less roadblocks because you're already wanting to. You already have that desire. There's less friction against it, so you're going to want to dive into it.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think the key word there is like you want it.
Yes.
Right? If you're being forced to do it, you're never going to get into it.
It turns into a flow blocker.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine trying to push against a stream or river. Like you got to go downwards, not upwards.
All right, what's one?
Next one is autonomy. Autonomy is kind of lost my train of thought there, but just having a bit of a kind of. So this obviously goes hand in hand with the curiosity, passion, purpose.
Yep.
As well, if you don't have that, what's the word I'm looking for right now?
It's that. Yeah, I think it's autonomy is you have more control over something.
Yeah.
Right. You dictate.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was trying to say. Is like when you have that passion and that vision, and then you like kind of build a goal and a strategy around it, and control over what it is that you're trying to accomplish. it is just going to naturally lead you into flow.
Yeah. Yeah. I love autonomy. It's actually funny enough for flow. It's such a trigger, but also for attracting great talent, having them know that they have a lot of autonomy. So a lot of decision-making power and stuff like that is a huge attractor for them, because like up to a certain level, money is a motivator. But once you pass that and you're basically all your basic needs are met, then there's other factors that come into play. So you can use it to attract people. You can also use that, when you have something that you're doing and you have a lot of decision making and power and decision making over it, then obviously it's going to dive you deeper into flow. The one that I really love, I'll let you talk about the second one, but the one that I love is clear goals. And we talked about that in the flow blocker, was that if you don't have clear goals, it's going to block you from flow. But having really clear goals is just immense. It's just a great amount of lubrication. It just reduces friction to get into flow so much, because you don't have to think about something. You already know what you're doing. You're already dialed in, and it's super clear. And what we like to teach is that clear goals is basically broken down to like a checklist. It becomes an execution checklist. Like that's how clear your goals should be. Yeah. When we talked about AI, I think it was the last episode, I think we talked about AI. Is AI kind of killing your flow? And this is where, having clear goals up ahead is you can use AI to help you kind of step-by-step break down exactly the task list that you need to do. And that way you can use it to help you get clear goals, which is going to help drop you into flow more.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that one leads us perfectly into the next one, which is like complete concentration. So when you have a clear goal, naturally you're just going to have a bit of a control over your concentration on what it is that you're working towards. Yeah. So if you have a goal and there is obviously tasks that you need to get done, you need to be concentrated on it. And you can't be concentrated on a goal that is not clear, does not have its defined like metrics or whatever you're trying to accomplish with that. So you need to have everything removed. Complete concentration is also builds off of the distraction piece. So you cannot have anything in your vicinity, in your surroundings that is shiny and have like that, what is it called? The shiny object syndrome.
The bright shiny object syndrome.
Yeah. So you can't just constantly be looking at other things. You need to eliminate yourself from every possible thing in your surroundings that's going to pull you out of that concentration. Yeah. So again, complete concentration being one of the key triggers.
Yeah. And then, there's a few, I don't know how many we'll get to, but with those, I think we as we talk through them, complete concentration is one. Maybe we'll spend an extra couple seconds on that. And then the reason why it's important is, like we say, flow follows focus. And so the more concentrated you are, the more focused you are, the higher prone you are to going into flow. And like you said, you have to remove the distractions. That's a big part of that. So knowing what you're working on, you have your external distractions, clean your desk off, all those types of things, right? We talk about that in the 1 month day. It's kind of one of the preparatory stages, how you prepare to go into 1 month day is we actually tell you remove all the stuff that's littering and cluttering your desks, right? So remove all those. That's just cognitive load that reminds you of other things that can steal your focus. Boom. Close your blinds if you can, or be in a room that doesn't have any, all that type of stuff. And then there's the sound gating, which is putting on noise canceling headphones, doing that to help you to limit any outside distraction. But I think once you do it, like that's all the simple stuff. Yeah. The hardest part is the internal distraction, right? Like all the things that come up and you're thinking about something, and I don't know about you, but I've had many times where I'm having a conversation with somebody and then like they say something and then my brain like does 20 steps and suddenly he's thinking about something completely different because it went off on like well, this made me think of this, made me think of this, made me think of this, and then it comes out the other side, and it's completely unrelated. And they're like,
there's no flow to it.
You're like, what are you talking about? Like, how did you get to that from there? And that's just a very clear sign of like how our brains, in the internal distraction is very difficult to manage. And that takes a lot of skill to develop. So, but as you get better at that, right, that trigger helps kind of trigger deeper and deeper flow. And that's really all we're trying to do with any of these triggers is, as many of these as you can layer on. We're trying to hit, like, if from our perspective, here's the most important ones, right? For setting up flow time or 1 month day, so you get the maximum benefit from it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Because you can get into flow doing a lot of other things, and some of these triggers will still be there, because look, that's flow for another activity. We're leveraging that state to be in for our business, because then we can unlock so many things. I kind of went off on a little tangent there, but.
No, it's perfect. Like, I mean, it adds some more context to that, because we have a few other in here that kind of it leads to others, even though they're two separate different things. So as we continue talking about it, I
just like we do with flow blockers, right? Like some of them are very like they kind of bleed on the edges a little bit, and that's the same thing with flow triggers. It might seem, but it's like, okay, we do the best we can to help look at the latest in the research and say, okay, this is kind of where to. And this list will grow and contract as time goes, and they'll be a little arranged here, and maybe these are really similar. So I mean, we don't have to get caught up in the exact, but like what we're trying to do is condense this into, here's how you can maximize. You don't have to hit all 12. You don't even need to know all 12, but here are the ones that we think are the most important for you. Okay, I think. I'm trying to go in order of importance, but they're all kind of important. Yeah. So challenge skill ratio, that to me is another one that's super important, because this is the one that it's a double-edged sword of, it can either drive you into flow or block you from going into flow. And when we talk about the challenge skill ratio, is making sure that what we're trying to do is with, not overly challenging. We're not challenging ourselves too much, because that will block us from getting into flow, because we feel overwhelmed. I know we've told the story about when we went snowboarding. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's the same thing as taking my motorcycle to the track for the first time. Right. It's really about focusing on something that is, 4 to 6% challenging. Right. And again, that's context dependent, because some people can, you need a little bit more, but we're saying kind of as a general rule, like it has to be a little more challenging, but it can't be so not challenging that it just becomes easy and you're bored and there's no point. It's not going to drive you into flow, right? So we want a little bit of challenge that's for your skill to help drive you into flow. So you actually, I think it, even practicing snowboarding stuff, right? It's like, I could go try to jump that, but if I've never done that before, that could lead me to be hurt and very discouraging, because I don't get it, versus, okay, what if I can break that down? What would be the 4 to 6 or 4 to 10% skill that I could develop that would eventually get me there? Yeah. So challenge skill ratio, extremely important, because it can overwhelm you and keep you from achieving a deep flow state, or you said it hit a sweet spot, you can like die. You'll go right into a nice deep flow.
And the other thing I want to add into that, and it's like, I think we have it in our top 12, but or 12 triggers. But the reason why the challenge skill ratio is so important is because that's where you get your immediate feedback as well. Yes. Like, if you are doing good, you will know you're doing good. Yeah. If you're not doing good, you can kind of tweak it. If it's anywhere above like 20% skill to challenge ratio, you're going to know you're failing. And the more times you fail, the more times you see that whole, like, I want to call it like a risk factor or whatever. Yeah. You're not going to get into flow. Yeah. Just because you're mentally just defeated. It feels like this is just out of your reach. So you're not even going to try to concentrate on it. And
Yeah,
not
it's
gonna follow.
extremely demotivating, which then goes back to that whole curiosity, passion, purpose, right? So it takes away the motivating factor from it, because now you're like, well, this is way too hard. Why am I going to try to do this? And yeah, like you said, that immediate feedback is an important one. So you want to have that feedback, but you want that feedback that kind of gives you that loop. It's fast, but it's not overwhelming. It's not like you've hit a brick wall. That's I mean, it is feedback. It is immediate, but it's not the best kind of immediate feedback.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not a good
unless you're like,
feedback,
oh, hold on, I need to dial this down a little bit. And if you can use it right away, that feedback to help you kind of like dial it back, and then again, you're using that trigger then in the right way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that kind of like again brings into that risk thing there. So going back to the snowboarding example, obviously the stakes are significantly higher if that happens on a motorbike track.
Yep.
But for snowboarding, I could fall face forward, but then the challenge is so hard. All I know is that, okay, well, I'm going to injure myself and this is just not going to be fun. Yeah. Whereas if it's in that 4 to 6% and I'm still going down well, I could still improve it. I could still like actually get the most out of my,
Yeah, you're able to still be very focused, right? And not break that focus. So then you're more apt to get into it, and you're not, just so rigid and trying to not die.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and with that, and I will say that I love that fact that we kind of brought it back to the whole snowboarding, because snowboarding is for me a really good winter flow activity. Because of all of those things, right? It brings you into the immediate present. And that's what flow state is, right? It's just the complete embodiment of the moment. You're so present, and time distorts, and you're just, man, it feels flowy, right? Yeah. That's how you can explain it, right? Yeah. But these are all the things that are happening that you can start to layer into it to make it better, and be like, oh, well, why did I have this really great session this one time, and then the next time it was garbage? Oh, maybe I was trying to do something that was way beyond my skill level. Yeah. And it was so challenging that I couldn't, because I'm like, I can't even get into the moment and focus on anything. Yeah. And so then it becomes a flow blocker. Exactly. And then so and the reason, again, I love talking about snowboarding is because when you look at the history of snowboarding and the extreme sports, is the exponential trajectory at which they were achieving like massive amounts of feats and moves and stuff they had never seen before, right? Because for a lot of them, they were getting into these massive flow trigger environments where they were just, deep present. There's an element of risk, complete concentration. They had a huge amount of autonomy, curiosity, passion, purpose, all these things like bundled up. And so you're in this flow-rich, flow trigger environment, and suddenly your creativity goes out. Your brain just automatically knows what to do, and now you're pulling these moves that had never been done before or thought were impossible. And I love that extreme sports like snowboarding and skiing and stuff like that, because like it just shows you the human potential in that you could just dramatically condense time frames of achieving these things in such a little time. Like that's the real world example, like outside of business, what flow can do. And then here we are, like, we just want to equip you with the absolute best way to do it. But most people will hear this and not listen. Yeah. Which is sad, but guess what? We're committed to carrying on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. What other ones should we talked a lot about them, right? Like, so element of complexity. So that kind of that dovetails with the challenge skill ratio. So it can't just be something so easy, right? Like there has to be a challenge there. So there's gotta be a little bit of complexity. Yeah. But yeah, I think, you know what? Like, I don't think we need to belabor this. I think we're here and I was
looking at my list too, and it's like we literally touched on all of them, kind of like, because that's the beauty of this whole flow thing is like, I could say one thing, for example, like the purpose, but the purpose needs to have like clear goals. Yeah. Right. So they all kind of bounce off of each other. And that's why, again, this is going to sound super corny and cheesy, it flows together with all of them, right?
Yeah, I mean, because it's true. It does. Yeah. They flow together. And we're just equipping all of you listening and watching this with as many of these as possible. And again, let's be really clear. You do not have to have every one of these. It's not like a checkbox. I need all of these, right? You can get into flow with like a couple of those, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Are you like, let's just say, like if you're out snowboarding, are you going to have immense amount of like curiosity, passion, and purpose? Well, you may have more curiosity and passion, but like, what's the bigger purpose of like going out and snowboarding or skiing or something like that, right? Like if you're competing and you want to get to the Olympics or whatever it is, the X Games, well, maybe that's the big purpose. But if you're just out enjoying and it's a great flow activity, okay, I have curiosity, I have some passion, but there's other things that are going to help me be way more. And if I want to like have a great day on the hill, on the slopes, and I'm going to layer some of these in.
Yeah.
But for business, what we're saying is, well, for sure, like from a business standpoint and running your business and maximizing, you should definitely have curiosity, passion, and purpose.
Yep.
Right? Because those are the things that even when you're not in flow state are going to fuel you to continue on when you don't feel like it, and help kind of give you that fuel for the grit of continuing on when you're like, oh my God, I want to throw in the towel. Why do I do this? Why do I suffer and endure this? Right?
Exactly.
So with that, everyone, anything else you want to add for flow triggers today?
No, I think this is a perfect place to kind of wrap it up. Instead of, we can talk about the flow triggers forever. Right.
A million of examples. Yeah. So what we do is we challenge you to, if you're getting into flow, you want to know how to get into flow, like take what we talked about and just, start to implement a few of those. Again, what we're going to say is clear goals, the challenge skill ratio. Those are huge, like complete concentration. Like if I was going to pick a few of those, like that one, curiosity, passion, purpose, like the top 4 right there is for me is like, hey, you know what? You layer those together, smash those together. You're going to have a really great flow session. Yep. All right. With that, we want to thank you, everyone. We are BizMeds. My name is Darius.
And I'm Saad.
And we're your neuroscience business coach, bringing you the minimum effective dose in today's flow triggers to help you maximize your flow state, which is going to scale your biology, to help you scale your business, and help you condense time frames. And so with that, Mom, love you. Thank you. Saad's mom, we love you. Thank you so much for all of the time that you spend just, being in our corner and cheering us on. So we appreciate that. And for all of you who have been joining us from the beginning and just joined
supporting us.
Yeah. Thank you. And for those that, send messages and kind words, thank you. Appreciate it. We're here for you. We don't get paid to do this. So don't be a hoe. Share the show. And coming up shortly, we're just, again, beta testing our, I don't know what we call it, our constraint breaker.
Yeah.
So where we help you find out what is the one constraint at the current stage of business that you need to focus on and break through, that you can leverage flow state to do that. So that'll be coming out shortly. So, send us a message, say, hey, I want access, and we'll get it to you. And in the meantime, sign up for the masterclass below. 57 minutes to save 2 days of your week, every week for the rest of your life, learning how to break down flow blockers, save more time and energy. And so with that, everyone, we want to say thank you. And remember, you're just one day away from the life you've always dreamed about. We're going to see you in the next episode.